You know what's beautiful about money? It gives stupid people the confidence of geniuses. And trust me, the stories you're about to hear make Lost It All in Vegas sound like sound financial planning. This is where fortune meets farce and loses. 1. There's something poetic about the guy who won $10 million dollars in the lottery and decided his first purchase should be a fleet of Lamborghinis. Not one, not two, a fleet. As if he was starting a luxury taxi service for other midlife crises. Within 2 years, every car was gone, repossessed, crashed, or sold to cover his investments, which included a backyard zoo and a failed plan to breed designer raccoons. He went from millionaire to bankrupt before the warranty expired on the first car. Turns out, when your financial plan looks like a deleted scene from Tiger King, you're not an investor. You're a cautionary tale with good taste in leather seats. 2. A Florida man inherited $8 million and thought, you know what the world needs? A pirate-themed strip mall. It had everything, a fake ship, a moat, and an animatronic parrot that insulted customers in 3 languages. He spent $7.2 million on construction, another $500K on marketing, and exactly zero on asking anyone if this was a good idea. Within 6 months, the Pirate Mall had fewer visitors than a MySpace reunion. His final words to a local reporter? I guess I should have added a Starbucks. A true visionary, I'm the kind who proves that even buried treasure can't survive bad business instincts. 3. There's rich, and then there's I bought a private jet to avoid airport lines. Rich. One guy did just that, then forgot he also needed to maintain the jet. Maintenance alone cost him $1.2 million a year, not counting fuel, hangar fees, and whatever spiritual therapy you need to justify that purchase. He tried to rent it out to influencers, but apparently, smells like spilled rosé and regret wasn't a big draw. The jet eventually got repossessed, leaving him flying commercial again, right back in line with the rest of us peasants. Congratulations, my friend. You paid $10 million to learn the meaning of irony. 4. Meet the crypto genius who turned $4 million into an NFT collection of pixelated breakfast foods. Pancakes, eggs, bacon, all with googly eyes. He called it Meta Brunch. Within months, the value plummeted faster than his dignity, and his $4 million portfolio was suddenly worth less than a Waffle House coupon. He now gives financial advice on TikTok, which is basically the circle of life for failed investors. It's the digital version of setting your money on fire, except now you can watch the ashes get retweeted. 5. A woman in Beverly Hills inherited $3 million and immediately hired a spiritual wealth coach who told her to manifest abundance by spending fearlessly. She took that literally. Within 18 months, she'd bought matching Teslas for herself and her dog, opened a vegan perfume line that smelled like moonlight on avocado, and rented a Malibu beach house because it had rich energy. The only energy left now is from the unpaid electric bill. But hey, she didn't lose it. She manifested it elsewhere. 6. Some millionaires buy yachts, others buy islands. One guy bought a literal town in Nebraska. He planned to turn it into a utopian wellness community. It lasted 2 years before he realized utopias cost money, and small-town residents don't love being told to vibrate higher. He sold the town back to the state at a 90% loss. The good news? He achieved enlightenment right around the moment the IRS repossessed his kombucha brewery. 7. Ever hear of the rapper who spent his entire fortune on jewelry, then went bankrupt trying to insure it all? He once wore $1.5 million worth of diamonds to a pool party. And yes, he jumped in. Diamonds don't float, and neither did his career. He blamed his accountant, who blamed the vibes. You know your finances are doomed when your financial plan sounds like a horoscope. 8. There's a special place in financial hell for the guy who invested $2 million into a movie about his own life, starring himself. He directed, wrote, and starred in The Legend of Me, a film so bad it made the room look like Citizen Kane. It grossed $740 at the box office, mostly from curious relatives. He calls it a misunderstood masterpiece. The IRS calls it evidence. 9. One millionaire couple tried to flip luxury vacation homes in the Bahamas during hurricane season. Their business plan was literally buy low, hope it doesn't blow away. Spoiler, it blew away. Twice. They took it as a sign from the universe to open a meditation retreat instead. That blew away too. Nature's trying to tell them something, and it's not invest more. 10. There was a guy who made millions selling protein shakes and thought he'd diversify by opening a chain of gyms shaped like dumbbells. As in, the buildings were shaped like dumbbells. Construction alone drained his fortune. The gyms never opened because, shockingly, dumbbell-shaped building is not an OSHA-friendly blueprint. Today, those gyms are used by bats. The moral, sometimes you don't need to lift, you need to Google business plan. 11. A woman in Las Vegas won $4.5 million at a casino and immediately decided she was too rich for boring money. She started paying for everything in cash, but only in 100 bills folded into origami swans. It was cute until her cash artist stole $700,000. The police said she made it easy by keeping her life savings in decorative bird form. There's creative, and then there's please let Darwin take the wheel. 12. One man inherited 12 million years and decided to live like a rock star. He did, for exactly 18 months. He bought a mansion with a retractable roof, 300 bottles of champagne, and a custom bed shaped like a guitar. Then the recession hit, and suddenly, liquid assets didn't include his swimming pool of Dom Perignon. He now lives in a modest condo, probably still humming the world's most expensive country song. 13. A couple won $15 million in the lottery and decided to quit their jobs by mailing resignation cakes to their bosses. It was iconic, until the IRS reminded them that taxes are not a suggestion. They spent their winnings before the first tax bill arrived. 2 years later, they were back at work. Same office, same boss, smaller cake. Nothing says, life comes at you fast, like clocking in next to the guy who ate your resignation letter. 14. Some people diversify their portfolios. Others buy 6 mansions in the same zip code. A real estate mogul once bought every house on his street for privacy. He forgot that property taxes also multiply. Within 5 years, he'd sold them all, except one, the one next to his ex-wife. Privacy achieved, financial solvency annihilated. 15. A Silicon Valley entrepreneur made $30 million selling an app that reminded people to drink water. Then he lost it all investing in a new startup, an app that reminded you to breathe. It raised $200,000 from influencers before vanishing overnight. I'd mock him harder, but honestly, someone out there probably still has the beta installed. 16. One man bought 400,000 Beanie Babies as an investment. He built a climate-controlled warehouse and hired staff to curate the collection. By the time he realized the bubble had popped, he was sitting on $3.2 million worth of plush regret. He now donates them to hospitals, one per life lesson learned. 17. A millionaire in Arizona tried to avoid taxes by claiming his mansion was a religious site. He founded a fake church called the First Temple of Eternal Vibes, with himself as the high priest of financial freedom. The IRS didn't find it funny. He now does free sermons at community college business classes titled What Not to Do with Money. Honestly, that's the closest thing to enlightenment he'll ever achieve. 18. A former tech millionaire decided that stocks were too mainstream, so he invested everything in ostrich farms. He claimed ostrich leather was the next Bitcoin, which makes sense if you think economics and bird handling are the same skill set. He spent millions building luxury ostrich villas, complete with heated sand pits and mood lighting. Within 2 years, the birds had eaten most of the wiring, escaped twice, and attacked a wedding party. He ended up in court after one ostrich bit a groom during photos. The judge called it a cautionary tale. I call it what happens when you mix Silicon Valley ego with farm animal energy. His net worth dropped faster than an ostrich in a sandstorm. 19. There's a professional poker player who lost his entire fortune because he was convinced he could beat the system at slot machines. His strategy? Just keep winning. The man literally thought persistence was a math equation. He spent $2.5 million over 6 months, living in a casino hotel, convinced that his luck was building interest. By the end, his loyalty card had more miles than a Delta pilot. He left Vegas with no money, no girlfriend, and a deep hatred of blinking lights. Somewhere in Nevada, a slot machine is still laughing. 20. A couple from Texas won the lottery and decided to start a business empire selling luxury water. The twist? It was tap water from their kitchen sink. They bottled it in mason jars with labels that said, authentically sourced from the heart of America. They made $4,000 before the city shut them down for violating 6 health codes and 1 law of basic intelligence. They claimed it was cancel culture. I call it natural selection. 21. There was a man who built a mansion modeled after the Titanic, full-scale grand staircase, dining hall, the works, but he forgot the part where it was supposed to float. He ran out of money halfway through construction, leaving a massive half-finished replica of disaster itself in the middle of the Midwest. Locals now call it the unsinkable money pit. Every time it rains, it floods. Poetic justice at its finest. 22. A millionaire dog breeder tried to create the next designer pet by crossing a poodle with a raccoon. The plan backfired when the hybrid turned out to be, well, just a very angry raccoon with better grooming. He lost 1.4 million and 3 fingers. His investors sued, but the judge dismissed the case because, quote, there's no legal precedent for weaponized raccoons. America, ladies and gentlemen, where science meets Darwin Awards. 23. A professional influencer launched her own cryptocurrency called Glamcoin. She promised it would redefine beauty through blockchain. Within a week, the coin crashed 99%. Her response? That's just the market adjusting to my authenticity. She made $2 million before deleting all her posts and moving to Bali for mental clarity. I guess it's hard to meditate when you've just defrauded your entire fan base with digital lip gloss. 24. A man once bought an $800,000 painting at an auction, bragged about it on Instagram, then accidentally punched a hole through it while unboxing it for content. He claimed it made the piece more authentic. The artist agreed and sued him for defamation. The artwork's new title? Portrait of a Financial Collapse. At least he got his 15 minutes of fame, which is roughly how long it took him to go bankrupt. 25. There was a CEO who decided to save money by firing his accounting department and replacing them with AI spreadsheets. The AI immediately reported that the company was worth $4 billion more than it was. He announced the inflated value publicly, tanking his stock and triggering an SEC investigation. When asked why he trusted a beta program over actual humans, he said, the AI didn't argue. That's not a leader. That's a man who got outsmarted by Excel. 26. A retiree invested his life savings in a timeshare in Antarctica. He believed it was an untapped tourism goldmine. He bought the land from a sovereign citizen who claimed to be the Duke of the South Pole. When he arrived, there was no property, just penguins, ice, and a chilling realization that he'd just bought snow. To this day, he still tells people he owns beachfront property with a view of the world's future. Technically, he's not wrong. 27. A hedge fund manager got obsessed with the idea of owning history, so he bought Napoleon's hair. Not a lock, a strand, one single hair, for $38,000. He framed it in his office, told clients it gave him strategic vision, then lost $12 million in a bad trade 2 weeks later. His employees started calling it the curse of the bald emperor. Moral of the story? If your business strategy involves 200-year-old DNA, you deserve what's coming. 28. A small-town dentist decided he wanted to be the next Warren Buffett, so he invested his savings into rare Pokemon cards, claiming they were the gold of the 21st century. Unfortunately, his supplier was a teenager with a printer. He spent $90,000 on high-quality fakes. When the news broke, he told reporters, "At least I brought smiles to people." Yeah, mostly to the kid who scammed him. 29. A self-help guru made millions selling courses about manifesting wealth. Then he went bankrupt after buying 200 acres of desert land for a vibration resort. He claimed it would heal guests through frequencies of abundance. Turns out the only thing vibrating was the foreclosure notice. You know it's bad when your own manifestation guide files for Chapter 11. 30. One guy turned his fortune into a personal casino in his basement. Full tables, dealers, neon lights, everything. He didn't let outsiders in, just himself. He gambled against himself for fun. The problem? He still managed to lose. His accountant explained it to him, slowly, like a sad math teacher breaking bad news. He sold the house a year later to pay gambling debts. To himself. 31. There's a guy who tried to make his dog an Instagram star and invested $600,000 in branding. He bought the dog a mansion, hired photographers, and paid for dog-size Gucci outfits. The dog, being a dog, chewed through the wardrobe and refused to pose. He made $40,000 in ad revenue. The dog still lives in the mansion. He lives in his parents' basement. 32. A woman inherited $2 million and decided to spend it all on spiritual travel. Translation: luxury hotels with better hashtags. She claimed she was exploring inner peace through outer spending. By year 3, she was broke but insisted she was rich in experiences. Sure, but try explaining that to your landlord when the rent is due and all you have is a seashell from Tulum. 33. A millionaire banker wanted to prove he was one of the people, so he gave away his entire fortune to live simply. 3 months later, he started a GoFundMe titled Return to Simplicity, but like comfortably. Turns out, the simple life gets complicated fast when you've never made your own coffee. He now teaches humility seminars for $800 a ticket. 34. A crypto investor bought an actual island with the idea of founding a decentralized paradise. No rules, no taxes, no government, just freedom and Wi-Fi. Within 6 months, the Wi-Fi stopped working. Everyone got malaria, and his citizens mutinied after discovering he'd secretly charged them rent. The dream died the moment someone asked who was in charge. His answer: the blockchain. And that's when they threw him in the ocean. 35. One guy made millions off a startup that sold custom emojis. Not an app, literal printed emojis on t-shirts. When the trend inevitably died, he decided to pivot into real estate. His big idea: a luxury apartment complex shaped like a giant smiling face. The building leaked, the elevators broke, and residents complained of constant existential dread. He tried to rebrand it as an art installation, but the city called it unsafe for occupancy. So now it sits abandoned, smiling forever, the world's largest monument to bad ideas and worse branding. Somewhere a real estate agent is still trying to list it as quirky. 36. A socialite inherited $20 million and used it to fund her dream project, a reality show about her journey to find humility. The show cost $15 million, aired once, and was immediately canceled for accidental satire. It featured her crying in a private jet because the Wi-Fi was too slow to upload her gratitude posts. After it bombed, she said America wasn't ready for raw authenticity. I'd argue America's been ready. We just have a strict import ban on delusion. 37. A retired football player tried to turn his mansion into a dinosaur theme park for kids and investors. It had mechanical T-Rexes, a gift shop, and a velociraptor petting zoo that immediately got shut down for obvious reasons. He didn't understand the problem. They're just robots, he said, standing next to a mangled lawn chair and a traumatized gardener. The park went bankrupt after 2 weeks, but he still keeps the animatronic dinosaurs in his garage. As a reminder, I'd say that's the most realistic fossil collection in America. Every bone paid for with bad decisions. 38. There's a billionaire who built a private underground bunker, not for safety, for creative isolation. He furnished it with designer furniture, soundproof walls, and a private chef who had to live underground too. After 6 months, he got bored and installed fake windows that showed a looping video of the sky. Then he got depressed because the clouds weren't interactive. He left the bunker, sold it for pennies, and told Forbes he'd outgrown the need for walls. Translation: he discovered sunlight and rent payments. 39. A professional wealth strategist once launched a course called Spend to Ascend, where he told clients to spend all their money so the universe would reimburse them. One guy actually followed through and bought a yacht, a tiger cub, and a billboard that said "Manifested Millionaire." The universe did not reimburse him. The tiger bit him, the yacht sank, and the billboard got tagged with "broke." Ironically, that graffiti was the truest financial advice he ever received. 40. A Hollywood actor tried to rebrand money by creating his own currency called Starbucks, not the coffee chain, his face on a coin. He claimed it would replace cash in creative communities. Within weeks, it was banned from every venue for being monetary performance art. He now pays baristas with framed photos of himself. That's not currency, that's a cry for help wearing sunglasses. 41. A YouTuber made millions reviewing cars, then spent all of it on a Lamborghini covered entirely in Swarovski crystals. It looked like someone bedazzled a midlife crisis. He crashed it within a week because, and I quote, "the sun hit it weird." The insurance company refused to cover it, claiming acts of fabulousness weren't protected under his policy. He posted a tearful apology video that doubled his views, so technically, it worked. 42. A woman launched a luxury candle brand where each candle was infused with a whisper of your financial energy. She sold them for $300 each, claiming they adjusted your aura to attract abundance. Within a year, she declared bankruptcy, blaming collective scarcity consciousness. The irony of going broke selling wealth candles could power a city. 43. One guy invested in a psychic horse. Supposedly, the horse could predict stock prices by stomping its hooves. He called it Winnie the Broker. For a while, it seemed to work, until the horse predicted a major dip and trampled him instead. His business partner claimed the market shifted, which is technically true. That's what happens when gravity and stupidity meet. 44. A hedge fund manager tried to impress his girlfriend by buying a small island. He threw a private party for 300 guests, complete with fireworks, jet skis, and a DJ flown in from Ibiza. The problem? He didn't check the tides. The island flooded mid-party, stranding everyone waist-deep in champagne and regret. He blamed climate change. The Coast Guard blamed idiocy. Nature remains undefeated. 45. A man in LA once blew through a $10 million inheritance buying NFTs of celebrity feet. He called it digital podiatry art. When the market crashed, he said, "I still believe in the vision." A year later, he tried to sell them back to the celebrities for authenticity. That's not visionary. That's a man who spent 8 figures on a foot fetish with receipts. 46. A billionaire decided to prove he could live like a normal person. He got rid of his staff, his mansion, and his driver, but forgot how to use a washing machine. He melted his laundry soap, set off the fire alarm, and called 911 to ask how to untoast his clothes. When the story leaked, he complained about media bias against independent living. Sir, independence doesn't mean fighting a dryer to the death. 47. One woman opened a luxury minimalist store where she sold empty glass jars for $80 each. Her slogan? Nothing is everything. It worked for 6 months until someone noticed she was reusing jam jars from Whole Foods. She defended herself by saying, "Scarcity adds value." She's not wrong. She just forgot that sanity is also scarce. 48. A motivational speaker made millions preaching mindful abundance. Then he lost it all investing in a pyramid scheme called Mindful Abundance. He admitted he didn't read the contract because he trusted the energy. He now sells online courses about recovering from toxic vibrations. There's no vibration strong enough to shake that level of irony loose. 49. A former lottery winner tried to turn his life around by starting a charity that helped other lottery winners avoid bad decisions. Within a year, he was under investigation for fraud. And yes, he spent the donations on jet skis. The press called it predictable. I call it meta. At least he stayed consistent. His bad decisions have a brand. 50. A Silicon Valley founder spent $100 million developing a smart wallet that would lock shut whenever you were about to make a bad purchase. The flaw? It used your phone's location to decide what bad meant. It locked permanently inside an Apple store. The company folded immediately. Somewhere that wallet is still sitting there, perfectly symbolizing its creator. Brilliant concept, zero awareness. 51. And finally, the masterpiece. A man inherited $5 million, hired a financial advisor, ignored every word of advice, and invested all of it in a company that promised to turn sound waves into gasoline. He lost everything, sued the advisor for negative energy, and now gives motivational talks titled, How to Trust Yourself. The crowd loves him. He's broke, delusional, and technically self-employed, which means congratulations, he's the American dream. And there it is, a full parade of financial Darwinism in motion. Proof that money doesn't buy sense, it just rents louder mistakes. Honestly, I'm impressed we've made it this far as a species. So, which one deserves the gold medal in stupidity? Drop your vote in the comments. Bonus points if you've seen worse in real life. Hit like, subscribe, and prepare yourself, because next time, the disasters get even richer.